welcome back to Saturn Secrets. Today we're discussing the full moon in Aries and what it means for your zodiac sign. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for regular astrology updates. So this is the annual Aries full moon. This is going to be happening at 27 degrees of Aries and it's going to happen on Wednesday, the 20th of October, very much at the tail end of Libra season. So if you have any cardinal placements, they be Capricorn, Cancer, Aries or Libra, at around 27 degrees, 26, 27, 28 degrees, you may find that that planet that you have that sign in is being impacted or lit up around this full moon. So watch out for that in your chart to see what happens and let me know if anything does. So this full moon is happening in Aries. Now, Aries is all about the self. It is the I am. It is this sense of own emotional autonomy with the full moon. What your emotions are saying to you that you need, what you want emotionally, and how you go about getting that. Aries is a very dynamic sign. It's a cardinal sign. It's a sign of leadership and action and forward momentum. Thankfully, at this full moon, we now have Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all direct. So there is a sense of moving forward with this full moon. Ways that this may manifest in the outside world is that themes of bodily autonomy, personal identity, and own individual needs versus the needs of other people are going to be probably in the news or lit up in some capacity. And because of its square to Pluto, it might be how these have been infringed by an organization or kept secret by an organization, or there may be some kind of tension between these themes and hierarchical structures with Pluto being in Capricorn, and also opposing Mars and Libra legally too. So those are just the kind of themes that could come up around this time. Also watch for people being more aggressive or impulsive, quicker to anger. Don't speed around this time, please. Don't be driving recklessly. Don't be doing anything emotionally reckless at this time, because with the square to Pluto, it's harder to undo things and there could actually be bigger transformations and consequences than you anticipated in that moment. Okay, so with the full moon in Aries, it can be a very emotional time. People can be very impulsive, people can be very reckless. It might not end well if you do. So this is a time to really find ways of chilling out. This is a time to find ways of calming yourself and self-soothing yourself when emotions feel frayed or you feel desired to do something really reckless and impulsive. That's just the way that this full moon is going. So let's talk about the aspects to this full moon. Firstly, I just want to get into the degree of this full moon because I like looking into the degrees of the signs when there's a full moon or a new moon, and it's at 27 degrees of Aries. So this full moon, upon investigation, it seemed to suggest that it can illuminate, because it's full, where we have dreams in our head that we don't make a reality. You know, you could be following this trajectory in life, you could seem to have a very clear path of what you want to do. Say you want to do in your career. You know, maybe you've always wanted to be an accountant and you pursued accountancy. But in your dreams, you know, in your mind, you're always visualizing being a rock star. And so those dreams don't typically come to light because your inner fantasy and your outer action aren't aligned. So with the full moon in Aries, sometimes it can say to you, hey, you have a dream that's kind of dying here, and there must be some kind of way of bringing it to light, even if it doesn't have to be that you are the next Elvis Presley or something like that. It can be that you take up that energy of performing in your local bar, or it can be that you take up the energy of writing a song for yourself, learning it in guitar and singing it, that kind of thing. So with this full moon, if you have a dream that's forever been in your head that you would like to experience, even if it's on a smaller level than it happens in your mind, if there's a dream you'd like to experience, this full moon will really illuminate it to you and maybe give you a little bit of a push to start pursuing it in some capacity. Maybe for some people that's where they've realized, you know, 6 months ago that they wanted to pursue something in particular and they've been going for it and they're going to see a result. It is important to look back to April and see what it is that you were beginning at that time, or what was sort of illuminating for you, what was sort of a conversation that was going on around that point, and see how it is that you have progressed in that time, and see that something might be coming up in a similar theme that is a culmination or a manifestation of that energy in particular. So this full moon is going to be squaring Pluto, as we've talked about. It's going to be opposite Mars. It's going to be sextiling Jupiter. So because Aries is so much about your own personal wants and needs, this square to Pluto can really show you where you're feeling quite restricted. It can show you where your circumstances aren't where you want them to be. They're not the type of circumstances you want, or where you feel with Pluto that you maybe have some kind of unseen force going on against you. Now, because of the square to Pluto, squares are actually, in my opinion, squares are actually very helpful in terms of getting to the root of something. With trines, there can be this desire to just coast. With squares, it provokes action to get to the root of something, especially to Pluto. So with Pluto squaring this full moon in Aries, if you have the type of tendencies where you can be emotionally reckless or emotionally thoughtless or emotionally selfish, or you can completely ignore your own feelings and your wants and your needs, the square to Pluto comes in a little bit like a psychologist and really penetrates down to why that is. Pluto has this wonderful way of getting to the root of an issue in the unseen points of yourself, you know, your subconscious, your shadow self, and why you maybe self-sabotage in these particular ways. So it's important to think, I think, with the full moon in Aries, what are your emotional responses regarding your own needs and wants and your relationships? The square to Pluto can really show you what your motivations actually are, what your subconscious is doing, what it is that you are being led by, what's kind of in the passenger seat driving you. You know, it's like having a ghost in the passenger seat influencing you that you can't quite see but you can sense. So with Pluto in the mix, can bring up some ghosts in how you emotionally react or how you pursue your own wants and your own needs. Capricorn is an energy with Pluto there that rules structures, organizations, the boss, hierarchy. And then we have Libra, which is to do with our relationships, be it in business or romance or marriage. And then Aries is about the self. So these squares and oppositions are showing you what your relationships actually are to other people and how they're influenced by other people. So with the square to Pluto, just bear in mind that you may find you can really generate some inner transformation for yourself, where your shadow side makes you impulsive or makes you lack being dynamic. You might not be as dynamic as you want to be in the pursuit of what sets your, you know, makes your heart happy. So we also have Mars in Libra, which is going to be opposing this full moon. Now Mars is the ruler of this full moon. In Libra, it's not necessarily so comfortable. We know that. It's been on repeat this whole month. But Mars in Libra, action-wise, people are more inclined to go with a charm offensive. They're more inclined to be manipulative with charm. I know a lot of people say that Mars isn't necessarily so comfortable in Libra because Libra is very indecisive. It weighs up both sides, wants to be fair, wants to be just. But to be honest, there is a little bit of Mars in Libra that gives me a Machiavellian vibe. It can be where you are manipulated by charm, where people tell you what you want to hear, where you're able to charm your boss, where you're able to charm the people in your life in order to get what you want, whatever your goal is. There is a Machiavellian aspect to that. So just be on the lookout for that if you feel like people are maybe manipulating you to get what it is that they want, leading with charm. Just be mindful of that. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. They could want something great, but the way that they go about it might be somewhat Machiavellian. But Mars is going to be trining Jupiter as well, and the full moon is also sextiling Jupiter. So this gives a beautiful optimistic spin on this full moon that isn't as intense as the transformational energy, but it offers you something to be hopeful for. It offers you something to be excited about. It offers you, you know, a higher perspective, a higher vision, even if you're going through this transformation and really figuring out how not to be too impulsive or how not to be too selfish, or how to not be the opposite, how not to be too selfless and have your needs never be met. So with this particular full moon, there's actually quite a lot going on. But with the sextile to Jupiter, I think that there is this sense of dream pursuit, you know, figuring out what it is that you would like to pursue in terms of dreams, because Aquarius is actually representative of our aspirations. So around this full moon, your own personal needs, tending to your own personal reactions, your own personal emotions, can be a wonderful way of transforming them, transforming how you go about getting them. But also with the sextile to Jupiter, it can be how you achieve your wishes and your goals. Opposite Mars, just bear in mind, weighing up both sides of any argument or issue is much better than being too impulsive around this time. But you might feel like you really want to be impulsive. You might find you really want to be uncompromising. You might find that you really want to be decisive and in orchestrating big changes. And for some people that may work, for some people that might not work the way that they wanted it to, with this full moon in particular. So in terms of the energy, what this is that feelings are coming up about who you are, what it is that you want, what it is that you need. With Mars, you're inclined to want to take action of this, look both ways before you leap. And with Pluto, you can actually get some transformation going that's going to benefit you in the long run, even if it feels quite hard to do, because change is hard. But Pluto can be this wonderful, penetrating psychologist that gets to the root of whatever it is that you're facing, whatever's holding you back, or whatever circumstances are holding you back, and making that completely clear. So let's do an oracle card for the energy of this full moon and see what comes up, see what the overall vibe is. Ooh, of course, this is like a justice energy. It says contract on it. But as you can see, she's holding the scales and she's blindfolded. Okay, so I think that around this full moon, there's still a sense of issues coming up surrounding the law, issues coming up surrounding contracts. Mercury's now direct. There might be some signing of contracts around this time. There might be some more decisiveness on what it is that you need. Because of the scales, remember the full moon, that even though the full moon's in Aries, it's very emotionally self-focused. There is a need to balance with the Libra energies. Those oppositions are always calling for balance, and the Libra energy is good at that. The Aries energy isn't so much. So it is about balancing your emotional needs and someone else's. And also in terms of this particular full moon, in terms of your contracts, this was also a time to really figure out what it is that you need in your contracts and your business endeavors. This could be a time when a lot of people are actually signing contracts because of Mercury going direct and Mars being in Libra, Mercury being in Libra, and the Sun still being in Libra, all collectively there. So in the last few days of Libra season, this might be a time when contracts actually do seem to be quite abundant. There seems to be a lot of them. But there may also be around this full moon a sense of justice in some regards. So there could be something comes to light that people need to know. That makes sense with Pluto being in the mix, and it also makes sense with Mars being in the mix. And when Mars and Pluto get together in a way that's kind of, you know, intense around a full moon, there can be this push forward in the reveal of secrets and the reveal of intentions and the reveal of motivations. There's an energy of push to get towards it. And there could also be with this contract card that in terms of the law, especially because Saturn and Jupiter are now direct in Aquarius, there could be some protesting. There could be some backlash against something legal, or there could be some backlash against something within the law itself with the contract card. So just bear in mind that these are themes that could be coming up around this time. On a personal level, evaluate your relationships, the emotional needs of yourself and your partner where they're lacking balance. And as I said before in the October video and the new moon Libra video, the way that we achieve balance is either by putting more on the side that is lacking or taking away from the side that is overdone. It's just an energy exchange. It doesn't have to be anything drastic. So this full moon is still focusing on achieving balance. It is the key theme of October. So let's get into the individual zodiac signs and what it means for each of you. If you want to check out your sun, you can also check out your rising and vice versa. You can also check out your moon, because sometimes full moons apply to moon signs, especially if you have a moon in Aries. So that is what I have for everyone. Check out the timestamps below. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Aries, welcome to your full moon. This is in your first house. This is your annual full moon. It's all about you. But of course, with every full moon comes the opposition to the sun in your 7th house of significant others, of partnerships, of business partnerships, and relationships in general. So with this full moon for you, Aries, there's going to be a culmination of your own emotions. You may find that you're a little bit more reactive at this time. You're a little bit more emotionally heightened. You could really feel quite sensitive. You could really feel quite on edge. You could take things very personally as well. Just bear that in mind around this time, Aries. Areas that you can take things personally are in relationships, but also in terms of your boss or your organization. Because of the square to Pluto there, you could find that you feel your feelings are heightened, or you're more reactive to somebody who is in a position of authority, or you might find that in your partnership there could be a little bit more of a testing energy going back and forward, with Mars being in Libra opposing this full moon too. It's important around this full moon, Aries, to really take stock of what your emotional needs are, what your emotional wants are. Now, when there's a full moon in your own sign, it can make you feel a little bit more anxious, but it can also be a time when something manifests for you, a personal want, a personal desire, a personal goal. This might be a time when you decide to do something physically for yourself that's different. You might decide to change your hair. You might meet a particular fitness goal. You might meet a particular aesthetic goal. You might be getting something done to your appearance around this time, or changing it in some capacity at this point, Aries. So this full moon is really illuminating your sense of self. Now, with the sun being in Libra, we still have a lot of placements in Libra in your 7th house. This might also be a full moon that really heightens your relationship energy. There could be some big conversation about what you want and what a partner wants, and there's a need to find balance, because your oracle card was the contract card, similar to the card that came out for this full moon in general, so it made sense that it came out again for you. This is all about achieving balance in a partnership, and it may also be that you're talking with a partner about the future. Maybe you're planning to get married, maybe you're planning to have a child, maybe you're planning to build a home, sign a home contract, sign a contract together or something like that. Some kind of legal arrangement might come to the fore around this time for you, Aries. Matters surrounding the law might come to the fore for you as well. Or maybe some of you have gotten engaged with that the Libra new moon that was 2 weeks ago, and this is the manifestation of it. It does look for a lot of you like there is some kind of contract in the mix, some sort of agreement, some sort of legality, or some sort of making a relationship official, or an official announcement within a relationship. Could be something that's happening for you around this time, Aries. So that is what I have for you. Have a beautiful full moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Taurus, welcome to your full moon in Aries segment. So Taurus, this is happening in your 12th house. Now the 12th house is the subconscious, it's the unseen, it's the spiritual, it is the otherworldly. It's quite magical, I think, the 12th house. It gets a bad rep though. It gets this rep of being like the emotional dustbin of the zodiac, where people go to throw their traumas and things like that. And it is true that the 12th house can really reveal your traumas to you. I think everyone has a trauma of some sort in their life emotionally, but it can also be the place of magic. It can be the place of the unseen, the spiritual, the things that can be felt, not seen, is what I'm trying to say. So this full moon happening in the side of the sky for you, Taurus, your dreams while you sleep could be very vivid, could be very revealing. You might hear from people from the past, you might run into people you used to know. There could be some very strange coincidences happen around this time. You might find that you are more emotionally psychic, you're more tuned into the world around you, you're more claircognizant, you're more clairvoyant, your psychic gifts are coming to the fore. You might also be coming into some information you didn't know about other people, but I would think it's more likely about yourself, what it is that your personal feelings actually are, what it is that your subconscious is trying to tell you. Now there is going to be a square to Pluto in Capricorn, which for you is your 9th house. It's to do with religion, it's to do with philosophy, it is to do with your belief system. So you could find around this time that maybe you're realizing that your inner world and your belief system aren't quite wrapping up as nicely as you'd like them to. Perhaps you're having a change of heart, something's revealed to you that could change your perspective religiously or politically at this time, Taurus. It's also potential, there's also a potential energy with so much in Libra in the 6th house that you're having some reveal regarding your health or your physical results. For some of you, you could be getting results from a diet, or you could be getting results from an exercise regime or something like this. Some of you might even realize you're allergic to a certain type of food or have an allergy of some kind around this time too. The 12th house, because it's that 12th house, 6th house axis, sometimes it can reveal how our habits are actually not working for us in the long run, or they're actually not getting us the results that we want. But sometimes they can also reveal some results that we've been hoping to get. So with this particular full moon for you, Taurus, it could be quite emotional, it could be quite revealing, and it could be quite spiritual as well. You could really be tapping into the unseen, having some psychic experiences. A wonderful time to get a tarot, a psychic or an astrology reading or Reiki healing around this time for you, Taurus. Wonderful time to delve into that type of energy. But you may also find, as I say, that you're hearing from people from the past, or you're dreaming of people from the past, or you're reconnecting as well, especially if you used to work with them, or they were You know, maybe you're reconnecting with a doctor or a healer of some kind as well around this time. So Taurus, your card was adjacent possibilities, which is interesting because we have a lot of planets now direct. You might find a lot of opportunities are starting to open up for you. You might have a few options. You might have a few things to decide. You could have multiple opportunities. There could be doors opening for you wide open. Similarly, because it is a full moon in the 12th, some doors may be closed, most likely by you. And it may also be that you're just having to weigh up your options at this time and make a decision. And if you're making one, especially in terms of work or career, it's likely going to be intuitively based. Not forgetting that this full moon is sextile Jupiter in your 10th house. There could be, with Jupiter now direct, there could be some sort of opportunity that you have only dreamed of and is starting to appear in front of your eyes. So that's what I have for you, Taurus, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Gemini, welcome to your full moon in Aries segment. So Gemini, this is happening in your 11th house. This is to do with your long-term goals, your long-term aspirations, and also your friendships. It may be around this time, Gemini, that you're deciding to remove yourself from a particular friendship or a social circle or a social group or an organization of some kind. You could be leaving, or somebody could be leaving these areas that you're involved in. Because of this being in your aspiration sector as well, this is a full moon where you could find that some sort of desire is manifesting for you, some sort of project, something that you've worked on as a team or something you've worked on for a long time that you've really been hoping to get off the ground, some kind of, I will say it's in that manifestation bracket. So you've intentionally thought about it, you've consciously thought about it and put action towards it. There could be something coming up for you around this time that's really exciting. However, we do have that square to Pluto. Now for you, Gemini, Pluto being in Capricorn, Pluto going through your 8th house, there could be big changes happening for you in the matters of the 8th house. That can be your psychology, that can be death and rebirth, that can be, it doesn't have to be literal death, it can be psychological death, you know, getting rid of an old habit or a way of thinking. It could be metaphorical death, it could be some sort of change, a butterfly osmosis moment. Because there's a square, I do feel like these areas might be affecting a wish or an aspiration of yours. It might feel as though you really want something, or you're getting something, but it's not exactly what you wanted, based maybe on a loss, based maybe on a challenge or a change or something that just doesn't feel right within you that you have to get to the bottom of. Now we do have a lot of energy in Libra though for you, Gemini, and Libra energy is all about love, it's about children, it's about creativity. So for a lot of you around this time, with Mars being in that side of the sky, the Sun being in that side of the sky, and Mercury now direct on that side of the sky, there might be some positive developments surrounding your children, or there might be some positive developments surrounding a pregnancy, or there could be positive developments surrounding your creativity or your love life that has been challenged recently due to the Mercury retrogrades. There could be some movement forward and some more dynamic energy in these areas in particular. What I do have for you as your oracle card is the door to value. So you're getting very clear on what matters most to you, Gemini. You're getting very clear on what it is that is the most important, what it is that you want to devote your time to, what it is that you want to pursue, what it is that you want to achieve. And for some of you with the door to value, you might also be manifesting an opportunity to make more money, or some money might be coming towards you. Like there's a door opening up, letting in more money. It's financial really with the door to value as well. Or it could be a new opportunity to do something that you really invest a lot of emotional care into, something you genuinely really value. So that is what I have for you, Gemini, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Cancer, welcome to your full moon in Aries reading. So Cancer, this is happening in your 10th house. Now this is to do with your career, this is to do with your social standing, this is to do with your reputation, and it's to do with your goals. So with this particular full moon, it is illuminating these areas and how you need to balance them out with your home and family affairs, because we still have a lot of energy in Libra, which is your 4th house. What makes you feel emotionally secure? What does your home look like? What does your family relationships look like? What is your sanctuary looking like at this time? And because it's going to be opposing this full moon, you can really see where perhaps you have some career focus or goals that are taking you away from these areas, or where you need to put more focus into your goals based on your career being illuminated at this time. It's also going to be forming a tense aspect with Pluto in your partnership sector. So if you are a Cancer rising, you may find that there is some tension surrounding your career, or Cancer too. You may find that there's some tension surrounding your career and your relationships. Maybe with Pluto being there, there has to be a change in your relationship life and how that balances out with your goals and your long-term agendas. This could be a matter of getting a partnership onto the same page, or it could be a matter for some of you with Pluto there of exiting a relationship where you feel like there is a power imbalance, or the dynamic is not quite right in some capacity. There could be some sort of challenge that you need to overcome within a relationship or regarding your relationship patterns, your psychological patterns with relationships, your attachment style, your type, for example. There could be some things that need to be rerouted there, that need to be some patterning in your brain that needs to be changed. So with this full moon for you, Cancer, it's really illuminating your goals and your long-term future, what it is that you want for yourself and how that's aligning with your partnerships, but also how it's aligning with your home and family situation too. Especially if you've recently moved, because we've had a lot of energy in Libra, so there could be a move in the horizon. You could have moved home, you could be manifesting a dream home, and this could be in some way coming up around this full moon. I do have for you the indecision card. You're not alone, Cancer. A lot of people are feeling very indecisive. This full moon is going to force people to be decisive in some regard, but it's better to do it on a personal level rather than be reckless or, too uncompromising. Really, with the indecision card, I think you need to consider what paths you have and how to make a choice intuitively, what it is that you'd like your future to look like, because I think this full moon really brings some things to your attention, where you've been coasting, where you've just been going along with the flow, or where you have just been pretending you're okay with something, masquerading as being okay with something. It really looks like Little Red Riding Hood actually in this particular card. So wolves might be symbolic for you. They might appear as signs for you when you're trying to make a decision. Be wary of being misled by other people in terms of making your decisions. Don't allow yourself to be manipulated by other people's agendas is one thing that is coming up for you, Cancer. So that's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Leo, welcome to your full moon in Aries segment. So Leo, this full moon is happening in your 9th house. So this can illuminate your belief systems, this can illuminate your religious perspectives, your political perspectives, it can illuminate your travel plans or your higher education plans. Maybe you're around this time getting a result in terms of university or higher education. You have exam results coming out, you have study results coming out, you have maybe you're studying for something in terms of your education, your exams, maybe you're studying for something new, or maybe you're just changing your philosophy of the world. You could be changing the way that you view the world, or you could be making a plan to travel or making a plan to expand or taking an adventure in your life, Leo, with this full moon. But it is usually linked to education, it's usually linked to what you've learned. And that doesn't necessarily restrict to schools or higher education. It can be what you've learned in your craft, or learning a new skill set, or perhaps new legislation regarding your work, because it is the 9th house. So Leo, the way that this is working out for you, because this is so much to do with your higher self and your higher visuals, it is squaring off with Pluto in your 6th house. So you could be wanting to undergo some health changes, you could be wanting to undergo some dietary or exercise changes, you could be wanting to undergo some work changes. With Pluto being in your 6th house connecting with this full moon, you might be finding that a person you work with, a colleague or an employee or someone in your workplace is being very difficult or being quite controlling, or there's a power imbalance here. And you have to use your education or what you've learned so far or your philosophy to overcome this challenge and really get to the root of why this isn't working. It could also be with the oppositions to the Libra energy, which for you, Leo, is your 3rd house. There could be issues surrounding communication, your neighbours, your siblings. There could be a little bit of combative energy at that point for you, Leo, and you might have to work out how your communication is working or not. There could be some differences in opinion for you politically around this time. This could be a time of political discussion, heated discussion, there could be religious discussion, and these things can typically get very heated. because people really identify with them. And I feel like with this being a full moon in Aries, Aries is a sign of identity, it's happening in your 9th house, your religious and political identity could be very important to you around this time, and it could be something where you feel challenged by people you work with or people you live near, you know, your community, the people you spend your days with. They could be things that are quite heightened around this time that you need to come to terms with. It might also be around this time that you have some new information that you need to learn pretty quickly. You have some new information that you need to get to grips with quickly. Maybe you have a lot of emails coming in with Mercury now direct in your 3rd house. Maybe you have a lot of correspondence you need to catch up on. Either way, I think this full moon could be quite busy for you, and you might need to think on your feet, Leo. So we have the Angel of Balance for you, which is a beautiful card of harmony, achieving balance. As I said before, balance is where you take away a little bit from what's too heavy or you add to what is too light, and you can achieve balance that way. I also want to mention that this full moon is sextile Jupiter in your partnership zone, and Saturn and Jupiter are now direct in your partnership zone, bringing a beautiful energy of momentum and manifestation to your relationships, which are your 7th house, which is the house of balance. So it could be around this time that you're maybe feeling more balanced in your partnerships. You could have, if you've been having a partner that's been acting up or their needs haven't been met and yours have, or vice versa, this could be a wonderful time of balance in relationships too. But this could definitely be a time when you're feeling more aware of what needs to be changed in order to achieve that kind of balance, especially if communication has not been working for you so far. This is a time when you can understand the needs of both parties in a way that actually makes sense for both of you. It's very compromising. So that's what I have for you, Leo, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Virgo, welcome to your full moon in Aries reading. So Virgo, this full moon is happening in your 8th house. So the 8th house for you is to do with psychological transformation. You can have a few breakthroughs here in terms of your own psychology. It can be to do with joint resources. It can be to do with intimacy. So these areas are all highlighted for you around this time and illuminated. So it's likely that it may not manifest in all these areas, but what the full moon in the 8th house can mean for you is that it can be very psychologically revealing, but it can also provide a chance for some sort of breakthrough, or even some money coming in, because the 8th house is to do with other people's money. So Virgo, this full moon is going to be in a challenging aspect to Pluto, and Pluto is in your 5th house of Capricorn, which it has been since 2008. You're well versed in this energy, and it's to do for you with love and happiness and joy. And you might think Pluto in this area is a negative thing, but they found, I think, with space technology that Pluto actually has the shape of a big heart on it. You can look this up. So Pluto in the 5th house can actually really positively transform your love and happiness by showing you where you hold yourself back psychologically with Pluto there, but also it can bring you changes with having, maybe you've had children since 2008, maybe you're going to have children before Pluto moves into Aquarius in 2024. Pluto can bring those sort of changes to you. So these areas are in friction at the moment with the 8th house. And when the 8th house and the 5th house are in friction, it's because with Pluto, maybe you want to transform your love life, maybe you want to transform your relationship with your kids, or maybe you want to be a parent or something like this, and it's squaring off with your 8th house, which is to do with sharing. So you may feel in these particular areas that people aren't sharing their emotions with you or their time with you or whatever it is that your love language is. You might find around this time that you're not getting the momentum that you really wanted, Virgo. And this full moon can be illuminating in what it is that you need to let go of on a psychological level to let that energy in. You know, maybe what your programming is, what it is that you think or believe to be true can oftentimes manifest right back at you. You know, there can be a mirroring effect. So this full moon, pay attention to what emotions come up for you, what psychological itch is coming up for you, where you feel reactive, where you feel like something needs to be challenged or changed. Because of the oppositions to Libra, Libra being your 2nd house of value, there is a need to balance your checkbook. There's a need to get to grips with your finances. There's a need to understand what it is that you're doing with your money and how that's linked to other people. It might be around this full moon that you are linking to someone else financially or making some sort of financial plan for yourself. Or emotionally, it can be where you need to balance out what you bring to your intimate relationships versus what it is that matters to you. You know, if you're on the same page in terms of values and morals and things like that with a partnership. But this full moon for you, mostly it's a psychological thing. It's about getting to the root of what it is psychologically that's going on for you. If there's something that needs to be addressed, you can find that it comes up at this full moon. If nothing like that comes up for you at this full moon, it may be financial, and it may be where you're joining forces with someone else financially too, Virgo. Because your oracle card was the man holding a coin. Some of you may find that there is a financial opportunity, maybe a job opportunity, maybe an investment opportunity, maybe an opportunity to make more money, an opportunity to expand your money in some capacity, and this full moon may illuminate that opportunity for you, Virgo. It's also about you standing in your power, knowing what it is that you value, knowing what it is that matters to you the most. So that's what I have for you, Virgo, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Libra, welcome to your full moon in Aries segment. Libra, it's still your season, and this is the annual full moon during your season in your sign of partnerships. There is a lot of need around this time for you to compromise with a partnership or a relationship. In your relationships, there might be something comes to your attention, there might be something to address, something to discuss, something to work through, something to assess with a relationship in your life, be it business, marriage, best friend, partnership, whatever. They could be bringing some news to you, something to your attention around this time, Libra. If you're single, this is a wonderful full moon for you to figure out what your patterns are in relationships, what it is that is consistently happening, if there's some sort of repetition, if there's some sort of type that you have that isn't working for you, and a wonderful time to release this. This is also a time when relationships could move to the next level in some capacity. That can be an engagement, that can be a marriage, that can be signing a contract, that could be doing something as a partnership that progresses it forward. So for some of you that are dating, this could be a time when a relationship becomes official, for example. Other things going on is that this Libra full moon, this Aries full moon for you, Libra, is squaring Pluto in Capricorn, which is your 4th house. There could be some challenges between your partnership, your spouse, your business partnerships, your legal contracts, and there could be tension with these things could be coming into tension with your family or your home or your property. So there could be some tension going around there. There could be a bit of a power struggle between maybe a spouse and a parent. There could be a power struggle maybe between a business partnership surrounding property. These areas can be coming into a little bit of friction. With Pluto in the 4th house, it's asking you to really get to grips with what it is that makes you feel emotionally secure, what it is that makes you feel safe, and what it is that you want to change regarding your home and family situation. We also have a lot of oppositions to your energy, meaning that your needs matter. You need to figure out what it is that you want, what it is that you need, and what it is that you would like to pursue for yourself, Libra. Your card was patience. So this is kind of a sign that even though this is a full moon in Aries and things are going direct, you need to be patient with the process. Don't suddenly become super impulsive. Don't suddenly become super reckless. Don't suddenly decide to burn everything to the ground. Just be patient with the process as the energy is shifting. Things will settle, things will change. And even if this has been a long time coming, this is a suggestion for you that everything is working out in divine timing and that you don't need to push too hard and you don't need to force anything that's truly meant to be either. So that's what I have for you, Libra, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi, Scorpio. So this full moon is happening in your 6th house. This means that this full moon is going to illuminate your sector of work, your sector of well-being, your physical health, your routine, your diet, your exercise, all of these things. Basically the habits that you have in your daily life. This full moon is going to illuminate all these areas for you. So this could be that around this time there is going to be an illumination of your health situation. Maybe this is through some kind of result. Maybe this is through an awareness that you maybe gained a little bit of weight, or it could be that a fitness goal is coming to fruition. You see results from the work you've been putting in at the gym or on a new health regimen or something like that. This full moon is illuminating these areas. It's important that if you have something come up physically that you pay attention to it. It's also worth noting that with this being a full moon in Aries, you're more prone to injury if you push yourself a little bit too hard. Don't forget, we still have a lot of planets in your 12th house, meaning that you are feeling quite tired or emotional, or your psychological health is your priority at the moment. Your emotional well-being, your mental health should be priorities for you at this time. And you may notice around this time that your mental health is manifesting on the physical plane. So you could be experiencing symptoms linked to anxiety, or you could be experiencing, on the contrary to that, you could be experiencing an awareness of how your new routine is working for you if you've put in place something to help you deal with your mental health over the last month as we've been going through Libra season. This could also be a time where a project or a work situation comes to fruition. It could be that you're getting some news surrounding your work or your job or your employment. It might also be that you're closing off a chapter in this area with the full moon. It may be that you are becoming very aware of some feelings you have surrounding your work situation, or as well, as I said before, your physical body and your health, your well-being. These things are all coming into focus for you, Scorpio. There is a square to your ruler Pluto. Now Pluto is in Capricorn, which is your 3rd house of communication. And it is also the house that's to do with siblings. It can be to do with your neighbours too, the people around you on your day-to-day basis. So you may find around this time that you're dealing with a throat chakra issue. Because of the link between your 3rd house and your 6th, you could be dealing with throat issues, respiratory, anything that is linked to the throat chakra, because maybe you're not being able to express yourself authentically. So these might be things coming up for you at this time. It's a wonderful time to heal through journaling, or to encompass some sort of practice into your life that involves writing or communicating. Because of the oppositions between your 6th and your 12th house, this full moon is your time to prioritize health, how you're feeling emotionally, how you're feeling mentally, how you're feeling physically. These are things that you need to pay particular attention to at this time, Scorpio, and also how you feel about your employment, how you feel about your work, and how you feel about your daily routine. These are things in focus, so you might want to make some adaptations or changes to these particular areas, or there may be some news coming in with these particular areas. The good news for you in particular, Scorpio, is that Mercury is going direct, and Mercury direct in your 12th house means that if you've been dealing with some past traumas or subconscious fears or issues coming to a head, you can now start to progress with these issues instead of reevaluating, reassessing them and reconsidering them. Now you start to get a bit of momentum. It's worth noticing that this is also a time when Jupiter and Saturn are now direct in your 4th house of home and family, and this full moon and your ruler Mars are in harmony with Jupiter in Aquarius in your sector of home and family. So these are areas that may start to have some movement and improvement for you, Scorpio. Your Oracle card is the Angel of Strength, meaning that you're feeling strong at this time, or you're being aware of where you need to be strong. A lot of you could be doing or focusing on weight training, sometimes comes up with strength, or focusing on looking after your body in a way that makes you stronger by changing the foods you eat, or even how to get more mentally strong and emotionally strong by changing the things that you tell yourself, the thought processes that you have, or practicing some degree of strength in face of anything that is making you feel a little bit depleted at this time. You might also notice with this full moon just how strong you actually are, Scorpio. So this is important for you, the Angel of Strength. I think this has come out for you before. I don't know if it was the new moon video or the October video, but this is an important message for you and how strong you actually are, Scorpio. So that's what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Sagittarius, welcome to the full moon in Aries for your sign. So Sagittarius, this is happening in your 5th house of love, happiness, romance, pleasure, creativity, joy. This is a lovely house, and it is going to be a full moon that is going to illuminate how you feel about these areas. It could be that issues with your children come to a head at this time, or feelings with your children. If your children have something they want to tell you, could be something that comes up around this full moon. It may also be that there is an announcement of a pregnancy at this full moon. Could be as well that a relationship, a romantic dating situation actually heats up a little bit, or it could be as well that you're deciding to leave that behind. This full moon is going to be in friction with your 2nd house. Pluto is in your 2nd house, transforming your finances, transforming what you value, what it is that is important to you. And these things might not be mashing up, so there could be some issues regarding your financial arrangements with children. It could be to do with how your children and your money are linked, or it could be your money invested in a creative project, or how you're investing money into making yourself happy. You know, how these two actually tie up and how love and money are actually linked for you and what that means. That's an interesting relationship to examine, because with Pluto in the second house, it is really asking you to, you know, penetrate into your finances and see what's going on with you in terms of how much money you're making, spending, what it is also that you value in terms of how you spend your time. Penetrating into those areas will be in some way will link to your love life, in some way will link to your creative life and what makes you happy. I mean, it might not necessarily be in a way that's easy to distinguish, but the two seem to be having some kind of conversation for you, Sagittarius. We also have a lot of energy in your 11th house with so much Libra in the sky, and Mercury is now direct in Libra. So in these particular areas, you may find that your goals, your aspirations, and your social life will start to pick up again after maybe having a little bit of a dulling down stage. You might not have been able to be as social as you'd like to be, or be out and about as much as you'd like to be, or feel as connected as you would like to other people. So this could be a time when you start to notice a few more invitations coming your way. Issues surrounding friendships start to clear up for you as well if this is something you've been dealing with. And you may need in some way to draw boundaries between your relationships romantically and your friendships, or you may need to balance the two in some capacity, because they seem to be both being illuminated at this time, meaning, Sagittarius, that you may find that you've been giving too much attention to one area and not the other. Or in terms of your social life and a creative project, they need to be balanced out as well. Your oracle card was the Sun, which is promising some good energy, some fun energy, some abundance, some joy, something that makes you happy. I also do feel for a lot of you this could be news of a pregnancy, because I don't know if you can see this, it's very faint, but there is a little baby. There's a little baby in a blanket just sort of hanging out there. It's the first time I've noticed that on this card. So I think for some of you, being a full moon in the 5th house, there's definitely news surrounding children, or births or something like that for a lot of you. And this could just be in terms of a creative project or the birth of a new relationship, or something new comes to you at this time. So that's quite exciting. That's what I have for you, Sagittarius, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Capricorn, welcome to the full moon in Aries video for your sign. So Capricorn, this is illuminating your 4th house of home and family matters. So these things are going to be coming to the fore for you. There could be some challenges going on at this time because of Pluto being in your 1st house. You could feel a little bit irritated with family. You could feel a little bit irritated with a home situation. You could feel a little bit irritated surrounding the past as well. You might find around this time that you just really want to make some changes in your life, and you may feel as though they're not necessarily supported by your home or your family situation. You might be looking as well to move around this time. Some of you could be settling on a house, some of you could be moving, some of you could be welcoming a new addition to your family as well around this time. But with Pluto being in your 1st house squaring this full moon, it's really asking you to assess where your own need for change in your life, the things that you would like to examine, the things you would like to transform for yourself or regarding yourself, are maybe coming into friction with the people that you hold nearest and dearest. It's also worth noticing at this time that there is a lot of Libra energy focusing on your career, and you're about to have some movement forward there, because Mercury is now going direct in Libra. So with Mercury going direct, you may find that your career starts to pick up, or some issues start to be resolved, and you may need to devote a bit more time to that in the next few days, because then we're going to move into Scorpio season and have a lot of the planets shift into Scorpio. But with that particular energy, you may find that with this full moon, your family wants attention, or there's something you need to balance between the home and family and your career, Capricorn. There's also some good news happening in your 2nd house, because Jupiter and Saturn are now direct in your 2nd house, which is going to improve your financial situation. And this full moon in Aries is actually going to be connecting in a harmonious way with Jupiter. So with that in mind, it may be that you're experiencing some luck in terms of financing a house situation or a home situation, or you could be coming into some money from a family member. around this time. But really, Capricorn, there's a lot of tension surrounding your home. You may just need to get out and about on your own with Pluto there. You might need some of your own space, some of your own time. You might just need some time to recharge, to be on your own, or to do something that really interests you. And examine how you're feeling. The way that I kind of get this with you, Capricorn, is that you might not have had time to assess how you're feeling about something, or you're feeling quite overwhelmed and you just feel as though your circumstances around you are too much because you're feeling this frayed on the inside. So you might need some time on your own around this full moon. And it may feel like your family really needs you or your career really needs you, but just make sure to schedule some time for yourself too. For your oracle card, we have the 4th chakra, which is Archangel Raphael, meaning that in terms of home and family, you have a heart chakra imbalance or overactive heart chakra at this time. So you may just be feeling a little bit closed off from other people. Some of you might be grieving, some of you might be hurting, some of you might be trying to close yourself off from love or connection at this time. And the full moon in the 4th house, it's interesting that this is the 4th chakra because it can illuminate the emotions going on within you surrounding your home situation, or maybe if you're a parent, how you feel about being a parent, or if you or how you feel about your parents and your home dynamic. These feelings can all come to the surface, and it might actually be something that's quite healing for you. Not forgetting that Pluto in your 1st house is a transformation of self, and the square could help you transform any blocked feelings surrounding your heart and your home life, Capricorn. So that is what I have for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aquarius, welcome to your full moon in Aries segment. So Aquarius, this is happening in your 3rd house, which is to do with communication. It is to do with the voice. It is to do with the information that you have on hand, the facts that you know to be true. It's also your siblings and your neighbours. So these areas are all being illuminated for you at this time, opposing all the Libra placements in your 9th house. So there may be for you, Aquarius, some kind of culmination of information regarding learning, your education, a new skill set, or something that you are doing to expand your mind, expand your brain, and expand your skills in general. There could be a culmination of energies around this time. Maybe you're getting a diploma or a degree, or you're getting, you're graduating from something, or you're completing a test or something like that. These areas are all lit up for you. This full moon in Aries is in friction with Pluto in your 12th house. So because it's the 3rd house and the 12th house in friction, it's kind of this sense of discord between what you see and you know to be facts and what you can feel intuitively and what you believe in spiritually. These two aren't quite connecting at this time, meaning that with Pluto there, you might be undergoing some sort of psychological, subconscious healing or transformation, and this isn't necessarily working out so well maybe for what you believe to be true at this time in terms of facts, or in terms of maybe your education, or just what's being told to you. Somebody might be giving you information and you might be having an intuitive knowing that it's not quite what they're saying it is, or you might be coming into some information and just have a limiting belief over it. Perhaps you achieve something, or you're very talented at something, and you have this Pluto in the 12th house fear of not being that good at it, feeling like an imposter or feeling not worthy. You know, with Pluto in the 12th house in friction with this, it feels like you have transformation going on underneath, and you might be able to permeate your subconscious and figure out what it is that's actually driving you or holding you back, and maybe influencing you into making wrong decisions. So just be mindful of any information you get around this time. It might not make sense with your feeling. You might feel like it's a different way than it's actually being portrayed. And now that the planets are all going direct, you're a better judge of character at that. The beautiful news, Aquarius, is that Jupiter is now direct in your sign, and it's in harmony with this full moon, suggesting that if you do want to learn something, or you want to have a better relationship with a sibling or connect with your neighbours, or you're maybe getting, changing cars, you may be changing vehicles. Jupiter being in your 1st house in harmony with this full moon is very lucky. Now that Jupiter's going direct in your sign, you're going to see the bulk, I would say, of whatever it is that Jupiter's bringing you this year, what it is that's manifesting for you, what it is that's going to be lucky for you. you're going to see the bulk of that come to fruition. So there is a lot of luck coming to you going forward, Aquarius. Now, Mars is going to be in Libra, which is your 9th house of higher self, higher vision, trining Jupiter in your 1st house. So set yourself some lofty goals that you really are likely to be more optimistic about. You're likely to be more welcoming of good news, welcoming of good fortune, and feeling like you do deserve it. With Pluto in the background, it does seem that you have some stuff to transform inside around this full moon, and it is likely linked to siblings, neighbours, information, your skill set. So if you have any limiting beliefs that are affecting those things, this is a wonderful time to get to the bottom of it, Aquarius. And just bear in mind, as I say, that Saturn and Jupiter are now direct in your 1st house, meaning that you're likely to feel some movement regarding personal goals and personal achievements. And with Saturn being in your 1st house, you've probably had a tough lesson in how you have been restricting yourself in your life. And with Jupiter in your 1st house, now you can start to go forward with the lessons of Saturn and get more luck and more abundance for yourself. So these two have a really interesting, unique relationship we've seen since the conjunction in December last year. But with Saturn in your 1st house, you've been revising and learning and figuring out some karmic patterns. And now with Jupiter going forward as well, you're going to start to see the benefits of this. So just hold tight and wait for those to come to you. Your oracle card was the Magician in the Mirror, which makes perfect sense. If you allow this full moon to be a time to do some inner work, listen to your inner narrative, listen to your intuitive voice, listen to what it is that could be going on beneath you. You know, hear yourself around this time. If it's just sitting quietly and meditating, hear yourself and what you're trying to say, because with the Magician in the Mirror, you're having a lot reflected back to you based on what's going on inside. So allow this full moon to be a check-in point and figure out what that actually is. Because with the Magician in the Mirror, it wants to give you something. The Magician is a manifesting energy. It wants to give you something new, something exciting, something you want. And with the little infinity stamp at the top and the Magician being Mercury, because Mercury is now direct and Mercury is in your 9th house of the higher self, your manifestation powers are really increasing going forward. And full moons are sometimes actually quite good times to manifest too. So that's what I have for you, Aquarius. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Pisces, welcome to the full moon in Aries for your zodiac sign. So Pisces, this full moon is happening in your 2nd house of money and finances. This full moon is illuminating your financial situation. You might be finding around this full moon that you're coming into some money, a new source of income. You might be finding that your money is increasing, or you may be finding that you're reevaluating your financial setup and you're maybe wanting to change a few things. What's important for you, Pisces, with this particular full moon is to know that with Pluto being in your 11th house in friction with this full moon, keeping up with the Joneses or keeping up with the Kardashians or influencers or anybody that maybe you want to impress or you want to fit in with, or maybe your friends, don't be have boundaries between your friends and your financial situation is what I'm trying to say. Don't be spending money to impress other people. And because with Pluto being there, it may feel like other people are kind of controlling you socially or trying to control you socially or trying to influence you socially. You might have some jealousy surrounding other people's money, maybe somebody on social media, maybe someone on the internet, maybe a celebrity. You might be jealous of that and feeling a little bit frustrated. If those feelings come up around this full moon, lean into them and see where you feel like you're lacking. Because the full moon in the 2nd house can also expose to you what it is that you value, but the confidence you have as well. So this full moon is showing you how confident you are, especially surrounding your financial situation. There's this complete misconception that Pisces are bad with money that I hear so much, and I've just known so many Pisces that work in accountancy or in banks. So don't, if that's something that's been maybe permeating in your mind, don't buy into that. This is a wonderful time for you to take charge of your own finances, especially as well how they relate to other people's, because we do have a lot of oppositions to the Libra energy too, and that rules other people's money and other people's financial links to you, where you're joint financially with somebody else. So there might need to be a balancing going on between your spending and you and your partner's goals, or your spending within a business relationship or something like that. Money is basically coming to light around this time for you, Pisces. There is support going forward from Jupiter in Aquarius in your 12th house, meaning that maybe the inner work you've been doing, the healing you've been doing, the psychological transformation you've been doing might actually be really helping you out financially. You might get to grips with something that has been influencing you financially that's not positive. Maybe it's lack of security, it's an insecure feeling, or it's a fearful feeling that's been impacting your money. And Jupiter being in your 12th house is a bit of a guardian angel, a bit of an unseen assister, helping you out financially. So there might be money coming in from a source you didn't expect as well around this time for you, Pisces. Your oracle cards were actually really interesting because we got the financial constraints card, and then I clarified it because I don't like leaving cards that seem kind of dark. And it came up with blossoming abundance. So I actually feel for a lot of you, this full moon is going to eliminate any negative relationship you have with your finances and help you figure out a way to make it grow, to make it abundant. Because a full moon in the second house can show you how to grow your money. It can grow your money, but it can also expose any issues you have with money, value, confidence, and your resources, Pisces. So I think this full moon actually could be a really good turning point for you in the financial department. There could be a new way of making money coming in for you, or a new way of handling money that works out so much better in the long run. And it might have been a lesson based on a negative financial situation you maybe experienced over the last 6 months. So that's what I have for you, Pisces, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.